Hey guys, it's Postboxpat. Welcome back to a brand new Fortnite Storyline video, and in today's video we're focusing on what has happened to Midas, what has happened to Chaos Agent, and how this all relates to the current Fortnite storyline, which is going to be crazy. Now, if you guys are new around here, roughly 85% of you guys watching the videos right now aren't already subscribed to the channel, so smashing that subscribe button will help the channel grow and also help me out as a creator. So if you want to do that, it really does mean the world, and also it does benefit you as well because you'll be kept up to date with the storyline content, map change content, and much more. You can also go and support me further in the item shop with code Postboxpat. I'm a hashtag Epic Games partner, and every little does help, especially through these difficult times. So thank you so much everyone who is supporting me in the item shop with code Postboxpat. Alright, so the storyline is getting pretty crazy, and we've obviously had a bunch of leaks and stuff, and we're going to start off with the Midas is trailer himself. Now this itself has been leaked all over the place. You can see it here. Midas goes to put a mask onto the wall, and this by far is probably one of the most craziest things we've seen. Now this isn't supposed to be seen for a good few days, so we have to assume that the storyline isn't at this point just yet. This is what's coming out in the next few days, so that's why in today's video we're going to be focusing on a few other things as well which lead up to this that we can see here. We can see the masks he puts on is obviously the Black Knight skin, but we can see that Chaos Agent is there, and also at the top left we have Lynx. Now Chaos Agent was used throughout the entire of Season 1 storyline, so it would seem strange of Fortnite just to randomly kill him off. I personally wouldn't expect that to happen, but sometimes you just never know with the Fortnite storyline. You do know that Chaos Agent does have a variant of his skin though, which he can live without his mask from what we can assume. So potentially Chaos Agent may have only lost his mask. I can't see Fortnite just killing him off like that, but you never know. It is Fortnite, anything could happen. Alright, so the next little thing that's interesting is Lynx. You know, from the Fortnite trailer that you can see on screen right now, we see Midas press the button. It kind of looks like he's controlling every single agent and every single henchman, like he's gone rogue. We'll talk more about that in a second, but you can see here, Lynx herself is fighting these troops which look potentially like Shadow, but then later on in the clip in the trailer, we then see Lynx actually sat in the HQ, dressed with the actual Shadow team. It makes no sense and it's very confusing. So we'll just have to wait and see which version of Midas we do get inside of his room. Still a little bit complicated though, because he seems to have shadow pictures in there. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, so what else is interesting as well is there's actually render issues going on over at the agency. This could hint towards map changes at this POI, which could be the actual shadow map changes happening at the agency. Do consider this won't be today. It'll be in roughly 10 to 11 days, because obviously we're talking ahead right now. We've still got map changes to happen at the Shark. More in today's video on that as well. So here is a little screenshot of the shadow troops up here. I actually noticed this a while ago, but it was sent to me on Twitter. Like I just mentioned with the screenshot with the shadow troopers sat in a room with a ghost logo. Moving on to the topic of Midas. Midas gone rogue, or is Midas ghost? We don't 100% know, because when we go to his room, we assume that it's just a peaceful Midas, no party at all. So he's not ghost, he's not shadow, he's just completely neutral. But he's putting masks on his wall of obviously a shadow skin, which would be Chaos Agent. So it's interesting to see that, because that really does kind of give us an insight to what is going on. If we assume that Shadow Agent could be Team Ghost because he's eliminating Shadow here, it gets a little bit complicated, because on his desk right there, there's a picture of the engineer who has a Shadow logo on her chest. So does this mean that Midas is Shadow, or has he actually gone rogue? Now this is a theory from my friend Tommy over at Top 5 Gaming, and he broke down exactly why he thinks Midas himself has gone rogue and he's no longer supporting either Ghost or Shadow, and is trying to bring his evil plan to the table by kind of misleading his agents to fight for Ghost and Shadow. There's a whole different kind of, he's kind of making it as like a whole disguise, a little bit back in season 4 when we had the movie type thing. So he's making the whole Shadowy Ghost as a big disguise, where he builds his huge doomsday plan to take out the entire map or do something crazy that we don't 100% know. And that was from Tommy. So he then went to talk a little bit about how Raph and Oro and obviously Midas are related, with that being apparently when Midas died, which we don't 100% know if this is true or not, but he was re-resurrected by Raph in the underworld, and Raph's plan was to take over the world, so he re-resurrected obviously Midas to go and do that, but I don't 100% know if that's true or not. And then Oro, I have no idea how this Oro skin relates to it exactly. It's so complicated. Oro again looks like maybe the defeated version of Midas, so it's very complicated that. But the whole story is all over the place. But what we can get at right here from just looking at these loading screens and stuff, we know that at one point Midas was on the Shadow team, but we're not 100% sure if that's true because he's put the Chaos Agent mask on the actual wall. So you can see why things are starting to get really, really complicated, and you can probably guess exactly why I'm a little bit confused, but I'm doing my best to break everything down. Next up, we have the Doomsday Device, which is officially being built in Midas' actual agency room. This is interesting. This could either teleport us back to a previous season, do damage to the map, bring back some previous skins, maybe the scientist, maybe the visitor, maybe it'll summon them using power either from the orb or power from the cube. We're still unsure how this thing's going to power itself. One thing that really confuses me as well is why are all the masks on Midas' wall all from chapter 1 bar Chaos Agent? Technically Chaos Agent is from chapter 1 because it was seen inside of the Gotham area, but it was released in chapter 2. Why are all the rest from chapter 1? It really does send alarm bells ringing in my head storyline wise. One thing to note as well is it looks like the shark could be going to Team Ghost. Now if we look at this here in creative, we can see that the actual mat of the shark itself is under the Ghost logo, and same with the desk as well for the actual shark characters, Sky. So it's interesting to see that that is happening there. And then when we look further into it and we pop into the Battle Royale game, these logos aren't there. So this hints to maybe the shark becoming a Ghost POI, just like the agency, which would kind of make sense because then that leads us to the huge battle, which we've got with maybe Shadow taking over the agency, and then Ghost having their final stand from the shark being their main headquarters. Another recent leak coming from the Chinese servers, we actually see a bunch of henchmen over at the shark. Now, again, this just confuses things even more because why would Ghost and Shadow henchmen be teaming teaming together, should I say? But technically, if Midas has gone rogue, and this is by, say, week 9 or 10, then maybe this makes sense. They've realized that Ghost v Shadow isn't going to work anymore. Chaos Agent no longer is alive. He's been turned into gold. And obviously the rest of the Ghost team have no leader either because Midas has gone rogue. So they've both decided to call kind of like a peaceful truce, and then obviously create this kind of party of their own over at the shark to try and overcome Midas' evil power. That's maybe what this is trying to indicate. But again, still complicated, still only theories, no exact evidence just yet. It's going to be really hard to kind of point exactly where the story's going right now. In yesterday's video, I had a really good shot at it with Deadpool and how potentially he's helping Team Ghost take back a few points of interest. At this moment in time, you've got to remember what we're looking at here is coming out in under 2 weeks, but that's quite a bit of time. You know, obviously we've still got Sky's challenges to release. We've got exactly just under 2 weeks, about 11 days or so before we do start to see Midas' screen. So we're a little bit behind. We've still got the sharp POI to change, and if that does change to Ghost, it really starts to mix things up a little bit. But I hope I am making a bit of sense to you guys. It is very complicated, and I really am trying really hard to explain where things are at with the storyline. Now, the final theory I want to point out towards in today's video is a theory between Lux and Midas having some sort of relationship to the engineer. It actually states that potentially they could be the engineer's parents. I don't think that's the case. I think there's something else related here. But if you look closely, Lux has a nose piercing and so does the engineer. Now, they are the only two skins in the game to have that gold ring nose piercing, so I definitely think there is some sort of relationship between these. Maybe because chapter 2 is a parallel universe, it could be something there. I'm not 100% sure though. We do also see, maybe what I'm thinking is the engineer is kind of a old version of Lux, or a second version of Lux, and obviously in chapter 1 Lux was hunting for gold, and if the engineer is like a parallel version of her, then obviously this may be why Midas is hunting for gold, because he could have been inspired by the engineer. Maybe that was his mother or someone related in his family. So we're not 100% sure exactly what's going on there, but other people have also been pointing at the picture inside a retail row saying it's the engineer with Brutus. I don't think that's the case. I don't think it looks like them at all. Well, especially it doesn't look like, definitely looks like Brutus, but it doesn't look like the engineer in my opinion. So that's what I'm thinking there with that side of the story. Again, it's kind of a new theory which has recently come out. I didn't expect it to kind of give us the exact details on all of the stuff with this stuff, because, you know, Lux hasn't had anything to do with the storyline at all other than that one screenshot we saw in that little theory post. But I don't know, maybe, you know, it's quite interesting to see, because obviously in the post they also describe how Midas's description is all that glitter is yours, and then Lux's loading screen description says all that glitter is gold. So these two loading screens really do relate. They're very similar. It just simply changes from yours to gold, as in Midas is saying that all the gold was originally yours to the engineer, or Lux in a different universe. Crazy theory, but makes perfect sense. I don't think it's the parents of the engineer, personally, because Lux is from chapter 1 rather than chapter 2, and so far there is no relationship at all of any of the chapter 1 skins in chapter 2. Nothing at all yet, anyway, apart from one reference to the visitor on the tree in the trailer. You guys already know that. I've talked about that in the past. Other than that, there is no references other than that and the start, where there was kind of like the little text that came up which is talking about how the visitor deployed different teams, and we don't even know if that was the visitor. We just don't know if chapter 1 has been completely wiped or it still remains in history. It's still something we gotta find out. Right now, we don't know. But that's it. Let me know in the comments your theories. I really do hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Go and check out the other videos on screen right now, and I'll see you guys over at them. Thank you so much for watching, and once again, this is Postboxpat, signing out.